Hey guys, before we dive into another super exciting show, you're going to hear in this one where we talk about pain point and solving a pain point. And I'm all about that. That's why I now have a Facebook group for Win the Hour, Win the Day. And it really is to support you so that your business can support your life and not consume it. Because I believe business should be fun. So check us out, join the group, because what I am in there for is to totally meet you one-on-one, answer questions, really just get an idea of how I can be of service best. So check it out, Win the Hour, Win the Day podcast. The link is in the show notes. Thanks so much. Hey everyone, welcome to Win the Hour, Win the Day, and I am your host, Chris Ward. Oh my heavens, today we have a really amazing, super special treat. We have John Lee Dumas, JLD from Entrepreneur on Fire. Super, super exciting. JLD from Entrepreneurs on Fire. I don't even know where to start with him. He has interviewed thousands, I think around 3,000 entrepreneurs, including Tony Robbins, Seth Godin, Gary Vaynerchuk. Tim Ferriss. Any name that you know or have heard of in the entrepreneurial space, he's been there. He's interviewed them. He has I believe the only, but definitely the first podcast that was daily. That's how he crashed onto the scene. His story is quite interesting. And I know as a fan of his show, I've heard many tales of his wisdom and success, which he simplifies and makes it sound so easy and attainable. And you know what? He's right. It is. You just got to follow some simple stuff that he's going to talk to us about today. But one of the stories that really impacted me, and it just rang true for me a lot, was I was listening to his show one time, and he was talking about how, before he started his podcast and he decided, what could he do different with a podcast? Podcasts were coming out. What could he do different? They were starting to become mainstream. So he decided he would have the first daily podcast. So he's putting all this stuff into play and he's getting everything ready. He's doing the promotions, like he's pulling all the materials together to launch it and all the stuff that we do as podcasters or when you're creating any product or launch or anything like that. So what happened though, so super interesting, is right before he went to do it, he found out there was another guy that was, I believe either going to, no, my apologies. He was already doing it. He had been doing it a couple months. There was already a guy that was doing it every day, a podcast every day. So his whole concept, crushing, like kind of gone out the window, right? His angle, his uniqueness as far as he saw it. This is going to be the thing that separated him from the pack. But, we talked to some people and they said, no, go ahead, just do it, just keep going with it, whatever. Anyhow, he's telling this story years later on stage about, recalling his journey and his success. And here's the interesting part. This guy, a couple of months in, the other guy quit. He just quit. He quit. That was it. So as JLD's on stage, he's telling this story about how he almost didn't do it, but he proceeded anyhow. And then the other guy, after a couple months, fell off the radar and just quit. And so he was, in fact, the only entrepreneur or the only podcast show that was daily. And then this guy came up to him afterwards and said, oh my heavens, that was me. So he's now paying to be at JLD's event, learning from him. And he was neck and neck with him in the beginning, but he didn't have the consistency. He didn't continue. He just, it fell off the radar. It fell to the wayside. So oh my heavens, to be standing there listening to that story, you're in the audience and you're looking at the guy and all he did was provide consistency at the time in the beginning. Of course, it's not, we're not minimizing his skill set in any ways by saying, that's all he did. But at that point, when the race is neck and neck and you're 3 months in, you know what? One was as good as the other at that point. So it was the consistency. And that's something that really was impactful and resonated with me. And I think of that all the time. Like, okay, you just, what? Maybe we're calculating the results too soon, or, it's also like that other story. And I'm sometimes not always key on my facts, but I know the bamboo, I think it's like something when you plant a bamboo, I think it's something like the first 2-3 years, it doesn't grow at all. And then it shoots up like 6 feet in the 4th year. So, tying that in with JLD's story, I mean, that's the thing is when you're sitting there and you go, oh my gosh, what am I doing? What am I doing? Whatever you're looking for to have a bigger impact on social media or your market. These are two really powerful messages that really govern how I feel about my accomplishments. So I just want to share that all with you before I introduce you to the man of the hour, JLD. He is awesome. He is here. He is going to bestow wisdom to us. And let's just dive right into the show and welcome JLD to the Win the Hour, Win the Day podcast. And JLD is in the house. We are beyond excited. This is a wonderful day at Win the Hour, Win the Day. So we do not want to hear my voice rattle on. We want to get right to the man himself, who has interviewed thousands of entrepreneurs and the biggest names in the industry. Way too many to list, because we want to hear him talk about it. So let's just jump right to it. JLD, welcome to the show.
Chris, I am fired up to be here, and we will win this hour.
Awesome. Look, there's the soundbite. Everyone, I'm done. Okay, so the man of the hour, who has interviewed all the men and the women of the hour. You know what I want to do? I just want to lay it over to you, and I want to ask you, what should we be asking more about as entrepreneurs? What is that question that we're just not talking about, not asking enough? You are out there, you're rubbing shoulders with the best of the best, and you are one of the best of the best. Bestow some wisdom on us. What should we be talking more about?
So listen, if you're not currently experiencing the type of success that you want to be experiencing or think you should be experiencing, I'm going to be honest, it's a pretty simple reason. You are not solving a real pain point better than anybody else. So if you can say, you know what, I built an audience because I've delivered free, valuable, and consistent content around this topic. I built up know, like, and trust with that audience because of those things that I've done. I've asked my audience what their biggest struggle is in this world, and I've listened to their answers, and I've identified the biggest common threads of those struggles, obstacles, challenges, pain points. And I'm now going to create the best solution for that specific challenge. You can't not win if you follow that process. You can't not win. It's how I've built every single one of my multi-million-dollar funnels, not by coming up with ideas. I don't really have any good ideas. I had one good idea, and that was to launch a daily podcast interviewing entrepreneurs. It allowed me to become friends and connect with all those people you were talking about, like the Tony Robbins, Barbara Corcoran, Seth Godin, Tim Ferriss, Gary Vaynerchuk of the world. And it allowed me to build an audience that knew, liked, and trusted me because of that content I was providing them. So I could say, Fire Nation, what are you struggling with? And I would hear all these things. I would put them into themes, and I would say, okay, I can create a solution to that problem that a lot of people are having. Boom, Podcasters Paradise, multi-million-dollar course and community. Boom, the Freedom Journal, accomplish your goal in 100 days. Now over $1 million in sales. Boom, this, boom, that, all from doing that simple process. So if you're not having the kind of success that you want, it's because you're not doing that simple process.
That is so simply profound. And of course, like anything done well in life, it's simple, right? And as I hear you talk, one thing that resonates to me is I also think we get stuck in a line or a lane as an entrepreneur. Because as you're talking, I've been told many times that my pitch to get on shows or get people on my shows, you've got me indoors, I shouldn't have got in. My ability to pitch and use video and stuff like that. But, with my Win the Hour, Win the Day, there's certain things that we cover, and it's building your team, so that your business supports your life and doesn't consume and all that stuff. But at the same time, I'm asked all the time, how do I get these pitches? So you think, oh, you know what? I guess I thought that's not my lane, so I shouldn't be doing a product on how to get on podcasts and stuff. So I think apart from your brilliance and solving the pain point is don't box yourself in either and define who you are.
I agree with that, because for me, a lot of people, again, are assuming that like I'm coming up with these ideas or like I'm thinking of these things. And if I stayed in my own box, in my own head, in my own lane, frankly, I might not have come up with a good idea after Entrepreneurs on Fire. But because I came up with that one thing that was delivering value to an audience and that was able to ask them that simple question, what are you struggling with? And then listening to their answer. Everybody loves to be able to complain to somebody that's listening. And And I created a solution for them, one solution at a time, one process at a time.
Right. Making 1 million at a time. So
And
let's
that's
call
added
a
up
spade a
now.
spade.
That adds up because I'm Puerto
Yeah.
Rico. I get to keep all the money I make.
Let's call a spade, folks. Let's call them out. Making it sound very gentle and kumbaya. Okay, we're counting our money while we're kumbayaing. Okay.
Totally. Come
All
on.
right. So my brilliant friend then, wise words. Now, what's something you think we should be doing every day? Like if you're going to be doing this, you're going to play the game, you're going to play big. What's something we should be doing every day?
So there's a quote by Albert Einstein. Try not to become a person of success, but rather a person of value. And I'll be honest, during my first 32 years of my life, when I wasn't finding much success, I was chasing success. I was trying to be a person of success. And it was especially during my mid 20s and early 30s where I was really falling down flat on my face doing those things. But like when that quote really clicked for me, and I was like, wait a second, I need to be a person of value. What does that mean? And then I was like, okay, I understand what being a person of value means now, like providing value to people, providing solutions to real problems. Wait a second, I haven't been doing that at all in my life. I've just been chasing success and money and fame, whatever that means, and not even, coming close to any of that. So that's when I shifted everything and said, I'm just going to become a person of value. And then I created a daily podcast interviewing entrepreneurs in 2012. And Chris, it was the best daily podcast interviewing entrepreneurs the day that it launched. It was the worst daily podcast interviewing entrepreneurs the day that it launched. It was the only daily podcast interviewing entrepreneurs the day that it launched. Like back in the 90s, which, you and I remember, when there was a Blockbuster in town, it was the only video store in town. We had to go there to rent movies. That was the only option. So they crushed it until, of course, Netflix crushed them.
Yeah.
But I was the only game in town for a really long time. And so even though I wasn't that good as a podcaster, as an interviewer, I was the only show in town. So people wanted a daily podcast with an inspiring and motivational entrepreneur. They had to come to Entrepreneurs on Fire. And I was able to get good over time because I put in the reps. So that's what my answer is to your question is, what are you, dear listener, dear viewer, what are you doing every single day to become a person of value? What are you doing? And if you can get specific on that, meaning like you're delivering this specific value on, this specific solution from that value to a real specific pain point or problem, you're many steps ahead.
Yeah. And that's another, again, really good point. Because as entrepreneurs, you just, the 2020, the year of the word pivot, but really pivoting often is reacting as entrepreneurs. You're like, okay, I'll chase this. And oh no, okay, I'll chase this. And I'm just chasing things like a dog, the next car comes running by, I'll chase it thinking this is the answer. Where with your approach, the consistency, and I've told my listeners, your wonderful story before you came on, your wonderful story about consistency and how you almost didn't do this show. So consistency really is the big thing, is providing value, but also being consistent with it. Because as he keeps quoting all these numbers about his age and Blockbuster and stuff, he's living a good life and he looks like he's 12 and a half. So
I just turned 41.
Okay, well, I want to see an ID and a mom to vouch for you. But the good thing is, this is what good living looks like, right? And that's the thing. I see that in pictures of myself and my business the first couple of years. It's like, oh my gosh, I wasn't taking care of myself. I was running myself down to a nub, reacting, not being consistent, just, hot and cold. And so, you look successful because it breeds a life of success, and the successful look is youth, right? So there you go. Okay. So really profound, simple advice. What did you wish you had known sooner?
There's a lot of things I wish I knew sooner. I mean, you kind of bring up the whole taking care of yourself thing. I hit that wall as well. Like back in 2015, I looked in the mirror and I'm like, man, like I do not look good. I don't feel good. My energy levels are lower than they could be. Like I really wish that I knew sooner, like back in 2012, 13, 14, 15, when I was really grinding out and building my business, that there still had to be a balance there. I still had to make time, to have 30 minutes of a workout every single day, to really focus on, drinking a lot of water, eating the clean foods, focusing on getting my 8+ hours of sleep per night. Like I really wish I knew those things over the first 4 years of my business. Since then, I've hired a personal trainer, which I, am meeting 3 to 4 days every single week. I have a non-negotiable 9 p.m. bedtime, which I very rarely break. During the weekends, things may happen, if I'm trying to get out there and hang out with some friends, but
You might go
weekdays,
wild 9:15, 9:20, but I hear
I
you.
mean,
I'm a bedtime person.
9:45, like that's it though. That's as
If
wild
the
as it gets
party's
for
going
me.
well, 9:45, right? I'm a
And
bedtime person myself, and they laugh at me. Also, if you've
it's
not discovered
non-negotiable.
the weighted blanket, it will change your life, but that's another
I
story.
love the sound of
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
really do. And I get it. And I keep my room here in Puerto Rico ice cold. So blankets are very welcome down here. And, the reality is this, like I am so focused now and have been for the last 4+ years on my health, my wellness, because I know that just oozes into,
Yeah.
my business and my relationship. So it all kind of starts with that. Like when I get a great night's sleep and I'm
Mm,
hydrated and I have the right foods and nutrients in my body, like I'm a different person. I'm a real
yeah.
different person. And I was born in 1979. Like I'm 41 years old. And, I do take pride in the fact that I still look great and feel great and all these different things. And, I meet with people, right now who are as successful or more successful than me, like financially. And man, they look like crap. They're 50, 60
Yeah.
pounds overweight. And I wouldn't trade places with them for a minute. Like you couldn't give me $10 million right now if that included 50 pounds of fat, because it's not
Because
worth it to
is
me.
that success? That's, to me, that's not success, right? What is success? And again, I take great pride in you quoting your numbers for your birthday, but I will tell you that my mother knew the math. Every year she changed her birth year to accordance to her new age. So,
Smart woman, smart woman.
yeah, so she kept the math up,
Yeah.
right? She'd say, "You do the math." So, yeah, so I do think, so what is success? It's freedom, it's lifestyle, it's quality of life. So I love hearing you preach that, because I'm all about that. I tell my clients that they should treat themselves like business athletes, right?
Hmm.
That's the name of the
I like
game.
that. I like that. I'm going to
Yeah.
steal that. I'm going to give you credit twice, but then it's mine forever.
As long as you quote me on your show, you do whatever you want. If I hear my name on your show, I'm good. You can
Boom.
say everything you want. So awesome. Okay, so when you're interviewing all these amazing talents, what is it, in your own life and theirs? What do you see is like, what's the common thread through it all? When you go, yeah, okay, I'm playing with the big boys. I've got that too, and this is what we're all doing. What's that? I'm sure there's many, but give me a couple of the common themes and threads you see throughout.
Yeah, and I'll give you a really common thread that really honestly led to, one of my, $1 million plus ideas, which was I asked my audience, hey, what's your biggest struggle? And one of the answers one of the years was, well, John, all of your guests come on your show and they talk about how they set really meaningful goals and then they accomplish those goals in a short period of time. And I said, there's an idea. So in 2016, I launched the Freedom Journal,
Mm,
accomplish your number one goal in 100 days. Nice and simple and sweet, and teach you how to set a SMART goal and accomplish that goal in 100 days. And in 33 days on Kickstarter, that $39 journal raised $453,000. So just to show you, like, wasn't my idea. I didn't come up with an idea for a goal journal. My audience told me they needed that, and I just created it for them, and then I sold it. And that was, again, almost $500,000 in a month, and it's gone on to sell, well more than $1 million in sales now since then. So that's an example of, listening to my audience and producing what they need. But, that's also a common thread. Successful
can I
entrepreneurs accomplish
Can I
goals.
jump in there? Because I would tell you that 9 out of 10 of us would have done that wrong. Because what would have happened is we would have taken that information and overcomplicated. We need an app. We need a tech guy. We need this. You know what I mean? Like, to make it, I would have been sitting in the room with you, going,
Yeah,
come on,
I
a
created
journal.
one page essentially and just repeated it 99 more times.
And I would have said, come on, other than your mother and me, who's going to buy that, right? So having faith in the simplicity of it too, I think that's beyond powerful, because I would have made that so complicated, it would have made your head spin. So awesome. My apologies for interrupting. Keep going, my
That
friend.
was it. That was the thread, that accomplishing goals.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, awesome. Okay. All right. We have a few minutes left, because your time is very precious, and we are so thrilled that you're sharing it with
By a
us.
few, you mean two.
Yeah. I always say get cookies if you want a few, but anyhow. All right. So 2 minutes left. The show is yours. What would you like to tell us?
Well, I see you have a fantastic book behind you, Win the Hour, Win the
Thank
Day.
you.
So congrats on that. I'm actually fired up because I ended up signing my first traditionally published book deal with HarperCollins not too long ago. Spent all of
Awesome.
2020 writing my book. really committed to the process, and I am very proud of it. It's called The Common Path to Uncommon Success. I distilled the 3,000 interviews I've done over 8 years into 17 steps to your version of uncommon success. So it's a fantastic book, very simple, laid out step by step by step, 17 steps to your version of uncommon success. And the book is available for pre-order right now. We have 5 fantastic bonuses that go along with it. We're talking like real value, real dollar amounts. For instance, if you're in the US, I ship all 3 of my journals to your door. That's over $100 of value. These are journals you can buy on Amazon right now for $39 each. So you get all 3 of them shipped to your door. There's 4 other fantastic bonuses. And as you know, as an author, like pre-orders mean everything. So if I provided any value to you, visit uncommonsuccessbook.com. uncommonsuccessbook.com.
Well, you had me at I wrote a book, so there's one.
Awesome.
Okay. We will promote the heckaroony out of that, and we'll get this show. We are going to get this show on the air at ASAP so that we can help with your launch, because we are here to help you, because man, oh man, have you been a great company, a great support,
Thank
and
you,
great
Chris.
leader on many a car rides, many a car rides. So JLD, thank you so much for winning the hour with us today. We appreciate you, and forever a fan.
Adios, Chris. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks so much.